So I said earlier in the opening that the Vikings were very intriguing, and I've talked about them in a variety of ways. I think I was asked a question about what team intrigued me the most a couple of weeks or a month or two ago on this show, and I said that the Vikings intrigued me the most. I also was asked a question about what player has the most to gain in 2026. I actually thought it was Kyler Murray coming over from Arizona for a lot of different reasons that I'll get into. I was also asked about Kevin O'Connell being an elite coach, and I said, well, that's a nonsense narrative of him being elite, but I think he's very good. He's not elite yet for a multitude of different reasons. So all of that to me is going to culminate in today's show because I want to talk about this team, not because I don't think other people don't talk about the Vikings. I think they're being discussed, and I think there's a lot of reason to discuss them, but I just look at them a little differently. So what's happened now? Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah is no longer the GM in Minnesota, and I think a big reason for that, they can say a lot of different things, and I'm not necessarily saying I agree nor disagree with the situation. I understand why it happened. Would I have liked to have seen him try to grow through a situation? Probably. But sometimes GMs and head coaches don't get that opportunity to grow through something that they're the reason that were created in the first place. So the quarterback situation in Minnesota was very, very desirable just a year ago. And now it looks very less desirable to a lot of different people. So you've got a season where you've got Sam Darnold, you've got Daniel Jones, and you've got J.J. McCarthy on your roster 2 seasons ago, right? Let's take it 24 months. And then you proceed to go to the playoffs in a, 14-3 season, and then you proceed to lose in the first round. So I don't know whether the Vikings didn't know Sam Darnold was the answer, and this is something that's been discussed. My point is I want to bring it all full circle to you. They had 3 first-round picks. That's right. J.J. McCarthy, Sam Darnold, and Daniel Jones, at the time they got drafted, were all first-round picks. And now they're doing it down to J.J. McCarthy, which is why they brought in Kyler Murray. I have no doubt that Sam Darnold winning the Super Bowl made the decision to not re-sign him look a whole lot worse. And I'm not saying it shouldn't look a whole lot worse. That's just a byproduct of the results. Sometimes you get results that you want, sometimes you don't. And I just want to say that not bringing back Sam Darnold doesn't mean it was the wrong decision, because you can't assume that the same situation happens in Minnesota that it did in Seattle. We saw what happened. They felt like, hey, we got to the playoffs, we got to the wild card, we lost in the first round. Maybe we have a higher floor with another quarterback. They gambled, and they presumably haven't won that yet. And you don't know what you're getting out of J.J. McCarthy because he hasn't been healthy for the duration of his career. And that makes me speak to the Vikings as a whole. The reason why I'm telling you that I'm not somebody who's selling on Minnesota the way a lot of people are, because they're focusing solely on that quarterback situation, which can't be denied, nor can it be ignored. So I'm not doing any of that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the full scope of this football team. And what I know about this team is that they have one of the best head coach, who is a play caller offensively, and defensive coordinator combos in the entire NFL. If you want to put Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo up there, I have no problem with it. But when I'm talking about Kevin O'Connell, and I'm talking about Brian Flores, and the way that this defense last year was top 3 in total defense, they were top 7 in scoring defense, they were top 2 overall. And offensively, they were bottom 3rd of the league. They were that bad. And I think a lot of that is because they had 3 starting quarterbacks that took the field, and they still finished 9-8. So this is why I go to the point of Kevin O'Connell saying I think he's a very good coach, but he's not yet an elite coach. The reason he's very good is because if you can take 3 quarterbacks, 3 different cadences, 3 different styles, 3 different everything under center, and still go 9-8 in a division like the NFC North, where you had the Bears be very good and you had the Packers be very good, and while the Lions didn't make the playoffs, we know how competitive and how good the Lions have been under Dan Campbell. That's not easy to do. Remember, the Vikings didn't finish in the basement of this division last year. They did not. And I think people are going to carry that false perception into 2026. And I think the addition of Kyler Murray matters. But here's an unsung hero that's on this roster. Has anybody been talking about Juwan Jennings becoming a part of the Minnesota Vikings? Anybody as their 3rd receiver? If you didn't watch Juwan Jennings in college at Tennessee, and if you didn't watch Juwan Jennings in the NFL in his first few seasons as a San Francisco 49er, he's a straight dog. And by dog, I mean he will take a DB as an outside receiver or somebody in the slot and will literally pick them up and put them on the bench on the sideline. I've seen him do it. That helps your run game. That helps your demeanor as an NFL team, and it obviously helps the pass game because Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, and Juwan Jennings are not going to be a low-tier receiving core in the NFL. They'll probably be one of the NFL's best, whether it's Kyler Murray or J.J. McCarthy. But I know a big thing that they did is they brought in Nolan Teasley. If you don't know who Nolan Teasley is, he's the new general manager for the Vikings, and he's the former assistant general manager under the Seahawks for over a decade. So he's been there with John Snyder. So the Vikings understand what success looks like. And the irony is they went and got the assistant GM from the team that they let their quarterback go to and win a Super Bowl. The Vikings aren't far away. I won't be surprised if the Vikings win the division. I won't be surprised if the Vikings make a deep playoff run in 2026. So to answer the ultimate question that was posed to start this segment, who is Minnesota in 2026? They are a formidable foe because they always have been. And Kevin O'Connell has had this team, 43-25 in 4 seasons. They just need to take the next step of getting to the playoffs. It happens in progression, and a lot of times people don't look back and say that team was good until it actually happens. I'm telling you, I think this team is good before it happens, and by good, I mean getting to the divisional round in the conference championship game. They should be watched because I think they're going to be in that conversation.